All right, it's just about time. So I'm going to give just a minute or so to let people kind of gather in. Happy Tuesday, everyone. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get things kicked off. So hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. So we're going to be talking about the keys to a productive tax season. And let's do just a brief round of introductions. So we'll start with Chris.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chris, CEO of Listio.
And hey, I'm Lindsay, Listio Customer Success Manager.
And I'm Corbin, Listio Process Analyst.
And I'm Emily, the Implementation Specialist.
All right. So we wanted to take advantage of the off season to kind of talk about the keys to a productive tax season with Listio. So here's what we're going to cover today. So we're going to cover the 2019 tax season process overview. We'll talk about going mobile or going home. We'll touch on client adoption. We'll have a nice preview of some new resources that we have for you. And then we'll also talk about a few tips just from the Listio team. So I'm going to have Chris kind of kick things off for us today.
Thank you, Lindsay. All right, let's talk about tax season process. So a couple of things about this 7-point list I have here. This contains some forward-looking items, okay? Things that we have not released in product yet. What we wanted to do is we wanted to get these ideas into your hands and into your minds early in process. So as you proceed with your planning for the tax year, you know about some new features that we intend to have in Listio for the 2019 tax filing season. So these are the 7 items we're going to go through. I'm not going to read through them necessarily. We'll just kind of go from item to item here. I'll give you some more detail on them. And at the end, I'll have this list up here again. So if you want to screenshot it or so forth, you can have that. And as always, you can always reach out to us with any questions directly about any of these items, okay? So number 1, wanted to put this out in front of everybody, sending engagement letters. This is just a reminder that for the 2019 tax season, send us the engagement letters you intend to use. As usual, we'll prep those. We're gonna make sure they look great on the web and look great on the mobile app, right? You'll use the bulk send feature to get these out. And most of you have done this already, but we have an entity type on every account in Listio. You want to be able to sort those out so you can pick out your 1040 clients, for example, very easily from the list. So if you have any questions about that, so let us know. But that'll allow you to quickly bulk send the engagement letters out when January rolls around, okay? So for the engagement letter, quick checklist here. Do you have the latest forms in Listio? Again, if they said like 2018 tax season on or something like that, and you want to update those, just let us know. And then our entity types set up properly for easy filtering. So easy warm up there. This next piece, sending questionnaires. So I think just about everybody out there in the audience, you're all sending questionnaires out as part of your process. Last year, you had I think there's a variety of different things that you all were doing. This year, we'd like to propose a new way for you to send a questionnaire out. This feature will be out next quarter. And basically what it's going to allow you to do is to upload any form that you'd like, any questions you'd like, etc., and to create a template inside of Listio. That template you'll be able to add checkboxes and text fields to, okay? So when your clients go ahead and open up the Listio app or open up the Listio mobile browser, they'll be able to go through and basically tap yes or no or tap to enter data to get the questionnaire data back very quickly. So we think this will be a major help for many of you out there and will allow your clients basically to know exactly what they owe you, when they owe it to you, and make it easy for them to get this data back to you. So this feature will be essentially universal. You'll be able to upload any form, anything like that for any process, including questionnaires, but it's just not limited to only questionnaires, okay? So we want to give you insight into this. If you have any questions about it, we'll be happy to fill you in on our intent and how we're going to do this before we release the feature, likely mid Q4, okay? So the process will be upload the questionnaire, add your checkboxes and text fields, and then save that questionnaire as a template. And that's where you can send the template out to all of your 1040 clients, for example, in bulk. When you're thinking about your questionnaire, think about how the online experience will be. So for example, we think that having a yes/no checkbox is going to be really easy. You might have a better way or another way you want to do that, but having everybody type in yes or no is probably not going to be a very good experience, okay? So think about how your questionnaire might be fillable online. Some of you have been sending out organizers, not everybody. I think organizer response rates continue to be relatively low, low double digits, maybe single digits in terms of response rate. So some people are asking if they, asking clients if they want to be sent a full organizer as part of the questionnaire. That might be a fair question to ask. But again, if you have questions about best practices and so forth, let us know, okay? In terms of requesting documents, nothing really that new here, other than we added number 2, which is after you send out a task to a client, we are now, and many of you know this already, but we send reminders out automatically. So let's say something is due Wednesday of next week. On Monday of next week, Listio will automatically send a reminder out to the client's mobile app, letting them know that there's a task due that week. Until that task is complete, we'll send a reminder every Monday of each following week, okay? So that'll help nudge people along a little bit. It's a pretty soft reminder. It just goes right to the mobile phone, not as a text message, but as a mobile notification. So it's not too chatty, okay? But we think that'll help you all as you go through tax season. And then if you need to get something back more quickly, please remember to use the text messaging feature built into all the message functionality. Dual use there, which is if they don't have the mobile app installed, that helps them install the mobile app. And because we're sending a text message, you're going to get a response really, really fast, okay? 8879s. So many of you used our process last year of have the client print the 8879 out, sign it, and then take a picture using the app. We think that's going to be the dominant mode again this year because it doesn't require, let's say, a husband and a wife, for example, to go through knowledge-based authentication. But many of you have brought this up to us before. You have some people who don't have a printer, for example, or some digital purists that want to do everything online. We're going to offer that for you. We'll have this in product in the 4th quarter. So you'll be able to essentially determine which way, or both ways if you want, to send 8879s out. We do think that the electronic signature is going to be less used, and it's going to, we're going to use knowledge-based authentication, so there will be an upcharge for it, okay? Because we have to pay some third parties for all this kind of stuff. And it's also the questionnaire part too. We're paying a third party to help us with all that technology, just to get it out there. It'll be inexpensive, but we're happy to talk to you about how that'll all work. But you'll have 2 modes for getting 2019 8879s back this year, okay? So there will be a small fee on that. I'll touch on that at the end, okay? All right, one other thing too is many of you, had to basically get essentially, let's say, draft tax returns out of whatever tax prep software you're using and to drag it in the Listio to create a message. We would like to take a lot of clicks out. In fact, we can take a ton of clicks out by giving you a print driver that allow you to print from any software package into Listio. Basically, you'd be in the software, click print. That'll bring up all of your print, all of your printers on your network, etc. It's also going to have a print to Listio button. Okay, you'll select print to Listio, and we're going to give you our file upload screen. So you'll be able to pick the client, you'll be able to pick the contact or contacts, as many as you'd like, immediately tag the file, include a message to your client if you'd like to, or you can simply print it directly to Listio, not send a message, you'll just put it in the file repository, okay? This should dramatically reduce the number of clicks you all have during tax season. This will be the last feature. We'll have this out after we have our questionnaire and 8879 feature out, but we should have this easily in time for the 2019 filing season for you. Okay. Balancing the load. So this is all stuff we had last year. Just want to remind you all of how to do this, but a couple of things. As we were working with many of you last year, we saw some imbalances between staff in terms of how work was distributed. So a couple of things just to keep in mind as you use Listio and as you practice and think about the tax season. Reassigning task owners can be done a number of different ways. For example, if you have somebody who's doing creating a lot of tasks in mass for clients, when they're creating those tasks, they can actually change at that point in time. We can change the owner so that the ownership of these tasks is distributed more evenly across the team. Okay, so that's a great way to start. We also have a bulk action feature that allows you to filter by owners and reassign owners, in case one person has too much, or if somebody's out, you can quickly do that. You can also open up each individual task, click edit, and reassign the task owner as well. So that'll help you kind of initially balance load if things start to look like they're leaning one way. Another way to do it is when clients message you, we have a client service team feature that by default is turned off, okay? But if you enable this feature, what it'll allow you to do is the client service team that appears under each account, and that's under each account, right? The client service team that appears there, you'll be able to restrict your clients to only messaging people that are on that client service team. So that'll really, let's say what typically happens in a firm is a partner, just by virtue of name recognition, clients will always message the partner and pick them each time, right? So that person gets a bow wave of work that comes through. So instead, what you can do is you can put the client service team in place. The clients will only be able to message who's on the client service team. That's much more balancing. Now, let's say the partner directly messages that client. Of course, the client will be able to respond to that direct message thread. Okay? So really, really helpful there. So keep that in mind. We think that'll be very helpful. Okay? Let's turn our attention now to files that we received from clients. So we get a lot of questions about process and how to handle this best. This is one way to handle it, and we're working on another one that we'll probably release in the first quarter. But when clients, let's say, give you a bunch of documents that you're going to be using to prepare their return, if you have multiple people in the firm working with that client, the question might be, what have we done with this file? Have we received it and put it into the back office process yet? Or is this something new? So what's important to know about our file section is we have really two categories, active and archive. So on the right-hand side, you can see filter by all files. And under that, if you want to see only active files, you can click actually, no, sorry. On the far right, you'll see active and archive. So it's not on the screen. But we automatically show you only active files when you go there, and you always choose to look at the archive if you'd like. What we recommend is if anybody on the team grabs those files and puts them into the back office for processing, we recommend using the multi-select. So you see on the right-hand side, we have multiple checkboxes there that are selected. Select the files that you've moved back, maybe download them all at once if you'd like, and then use on the bottom of the page the archive button, which will move them off of the active screen onto the archive screen. This will signal to anybody else who might come along looking at this account that those files have already been moved, and we'll keep everybody on the same page. Okay? So we think this is going to be a good process. It seemed to work well last year. Not everybody used it, but we wanted to put this out there as another idea for you. Okay? So this is, if you'd like to take a screenshot or something like that, just for reminders purposes, these are some of the items that we're thinking about, which will be good for you for tax season, and we're happy to talk to you in more detail about them. Okay. And one last thing for my section here, which is the prep checklist. Remember to contact us for engagement letters. Make sure your entity type information is going to be filterable. Tax questionnaires, make sure they're checkbox friendly. We did get a question actually from Jorlina wanting to know if we're going to have a general template or a recommended template. We'll be happy to do that. I think many of you are going to be using very similar forms. We need to find one that you can all kind of personalize. So we'll keep we'll get put together a section of those, and we'll keep a folder together for ideas you might want to use directly or modify on your own. But that's a great question. We'll keep an eye on that. Okay. And then obviously the client service team feature can be helpful. So that's it for me. I'm going to pass it on to the next team member.
Okay, so today we're going to, for my section, talk about going mobile or going home. And we call it that because having clients on Listio on the mobile app is actually going to be key for you guys. This is going to help with response times. This is going to help with them being able to access their documents from wherever they're at, and also helpful for you to get in front of your clients from wherever they are. And so a really good way of getting in front of your clients with the mobile app is inviting them to download the app. And you can actually do that right under bulk actions as pictured, and you'll just go to invite to download app. Now, once you do that, if texting is enabled, they can get it right to their phone, or they'll get the typical email invitation as well. Another thing to consider here too is texting. And so we want to make sure that all of your mobile numbers are entered into Listio, and that can be a pretty big project. So we have a way to help you get that entered. You'll see a list here, and this is actually coming directly out of Listio that you guys can download yourself. And we'll show you a little bit about that here. But first I want to point out, we have a nice quote from Peter at Equus Advisors. He mentioned that the newer feature of texting has been really helpful because it's been improving his replies and response times from his clients. And so we'll show you how to get that Excel sheet here. So when you're in Listio, all you have to do is go to your contacts page on the left side. And then you can decide whether or not you want to select a specific tab at the top, whether they're all of your clients you want to take a look at, or you want to go and look at anybody who's invited or active.
Sorry about that. It logged me out.
Okay, so contacts page on the left-hand side.
1 second. Sorry, my one password is freezing Chrome for me.
It happens to the best of us.
I know. It's only me and you that it happens to, and I don't know why. And Corbin's smiling because it never happens to him. Okay, let's see. 1 second.
So the purpose of this Excel sheet really is going to be able to see who do you have mobile numbers for and who's are missing in Listio. Now, keep in mind when your clients are activating and onboarding into Listio, we are asking them what their mobile number is, and we'll have them enter it in, and of course default to allow texting. This is actually going to be a process to help you just gather extra mobile numbers that need to be entered in. And then, okay, great, she's back on the page. So we're back on our contacts page. And all you simply have to do on the right-hand side is click the download icon. Now, once you do this, it's going to go into that Excel sheet we saw a screenshot of. And she'll open that here in just a moment. And then you'll have a good idea of whose number you need to gather. And then once you gather all these numbers, you have two options. You can either go ahead and enter these in manually by editing each contact, or you can ask us for help. We're more than happy to help you get these entered in. Once you fill out this Excel sheet, we can help take care of that and get everybody updated within Listio.
All right. So I want to touch on client adoption and kind of what to expect when we start to roll Listio out to clients. So we know that changing habits takes time, right? So we kind of like to think about client adoption like an S-curve. So it's going to be one that's gradually going to increase over time. So when we roll Listio out to clients, we're going to begin by introducing Listio to them. And we really, really want your clients to understand the benefits they'll get from using Listio. And we have several resources to help you with this. So let's talk a little bit about client adoption and our expectations. So when we roll Listio out, we'll see our early adopters kind of jump on board. And then over time, we'll have more and more users sign on. As we get closer to tax season, I think you guys will start to see a really heavy increase in adoption. So kind of think of it this way. So you know how you have clients that are really, really good about getting you things? Those are going to be our early adopters. And then you're going to have people that, wait until the last minute to get you things. Those are going to be our procrastinators. Those are going to be the people that wait until last minute to sign on and activate their account. So I want to talk a little bit about how we reach our goal for client adoption. So what's really important here is actually making sure we set a goal and that we communicate that goal to our clients. So we have brand new resources to help with this. And in every single one of our email templates, we will always list the date that our clients should expect their invitation. So this is step one. Now we have several email templates, and I'll actually have Corbin go over those with you a little bit later. He'll go over those in a little bit more detail. Let's talk about a few other ways to actually communicate this goal. Another one is social media. So we highly, highly recommend using our social media campaign to get the word out that your firm is moving to Listio. So we've actually seen client engagement from this, and it's really great to kind of bring things full circle for your clients. They get the email announcements and they see the social posts. So also, if you are interested in getting started with social, we will help. So just give us a call if you guys would like to get started on that. It's a perfect time of year to do this. So lastly, and one of the most important things we found is actually email signatures. So this one's huge. We can't express the importance of this enough. So we have plenty of default email signatures that your firm can use to continue communicating your move to Listio kind of throughout your transition. So I want everyone to remember too that this is not a one size fits all. We can change the language up to kind of best fit your firm and your client needs, and we'll work with you to help with that. So email signatures we found too are not only important for your clients, but they're actually really important for your staff as well, because it will remind them to get into Listio. So we found these to be extremely helpful in improving client adoption. And we have several different variations and can change these up, kind of depending on where we're at on the client adoption timeline. So in the first one that I've mentioned, we kind of use a softer little bit of language. We even mention the date that they'll receive their invitation. And then later on, we can change this to say we are monitoring email less frequently. And then later on, when it's several months down the line, we can say, we are no longer monitoring email. And then when we get to a point, we can actually set up an automatic reply. This is really helpful too, because it's not something you really have to reply to the emails to clients. So I'm going to go ahead and hand this off to Emily.
Okay. So the first part that we talked about is your initial implementation with clients, but there's also the section after implementation where you're really trying to gain adoption after you've initially invited your clients, after those templates have gone out, after you sent out your bulk invites. And this is really where you have to stay focused on the implementation, because it's not over after you invite them the first time. There are still several things you can do to help gain adoption. And this is really going to help in the long run, because we don't want you to have to worry about this during busy season. So the first one here is talking about how you can communicate with clients about Listio. And a really easy thing to do is before you go into a meeting, or if you're about to give a call to your client or a client calls in, check their status in Listio. If they're active, make sure that they're messaging you through the platform, or ask and check and see if they're using the mobile app. If they're not, send them an invite. If they're invited or expired, let them know, hey, did you get these emails? We see that you haven't activated your account. Let me just shoot you a quick invitation. Do you want this via text, or would you like it just through email? It's a really great way, since you're already connected and talking to them or in front of them. It's a really great time to get them active and also answer any questions they may have. The second one is inviting clients to download the mobile app. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Go ahead and start bulk inviting any active clients to download the mobile app. Many of you have gone through this process already, so you know once you have expired invites, you go through and you push out another round of expired invitations. And at that same time, go ahead and send bulk invites to any active clients through the invite to download mobile app action. The next one here is resending expired invites or having our support team take care of it for you. So we know that these invites last or are active for 7 days before they expire. And all you really have to do is export the expired list, similar how we saw how you exported to find those mobile numbers. And you can take out all of the email addresses and actually go ahead and send in a reminder to your clients about the invitation. Say, you know, we see that you haven't accepted the invite. We're going to send another round. If you have questions or need help, let us know. So reminders are going to be really helpful. And if you want help keeping up on weekly resending invites, just ask our team and we'll take care of that for you. And the last one is clients that are sending emails to you even after you've rolled out Listio. Now, there's going to be two cases. First, if a client is active and they're emailing you, maybe it's a good time to start setting up a group where you enter in specific email addresses and they'll get an auto reply like Lindsay talked about. And we can help you out with that. Or you can also paste their message into a new message in Listio and let them know we're responding via Listio because that's the way we're doing things and you're already active. Just kind of explain that to them a little bit. If they're invited or expired and they're sending invitations, that's a really good time to communicate that they need to activate their Listio account. If they need any help, you know, walk them through it or give us a call and we're always happy to help out your clients.
Okay, and so on the topic of all of this, it's really important to reinforce for your clients that this move isn't just for you guys. It benefits your clients as well. And so all of our resources that we're giving you kind of stress this to them and are really focused around the fact that we are giving something to them as well. All three of the email templates we have each focus on one of the three main areas of benefits for them. So first of all, our first email template that we can give you is everything you need is in one place. So they no longer have to go between different filing systems as well as email back and forth to communicate with you and get everything done. Now it's all done in one place, conveniently and stored and sorted, kind of organized for their best interest. On top of that, we also have mobility, so no longer needing to go to all these different places, but it's also all in your pocket on their phone or on their computer if they choose to use that. It's all in one place and it can be wherever they want it to be. And then to top it all off, it's completely secure, so you don't have to worry about any of that.
And Corbin, let me ask if you can get closer to the microphone. It's a little bit light.
I am so sorry about that. Yep.
There you go. Much better.
Yep. So to reiterate, sorry about that. Basically, we want to show off the benefits of Listio to your clients, that it's not just for you guys, it's for them as well. So everything being in one place, the mobility aspect of everything in one place right in their pocket, as well as the security of Listio having not worry about phishing links or scams. And
one thing I just wanted to mention briefly on security. I know that there's been a lot of stuff regarding phishing and data breaches in the news. This is becoming relevant to your clients. So the security email template is really, really important. You can go ahead, Corbin.
Yep. Also, email signature. So I know Lindsay already talked about this a little bit, so did Emily, but we can't stress enough how successful we've seen people with email signatures. It's really kind of slowly get your clients used to the idea of Listio and helps them understand that you're moving to it and it's something that they need to do. As well as the social ads. They kind of follow through in the same thing. When your clients are looking at your social media, they just see these random pop-ups talking about Listio and that you're moving towards it and kind of hitting on all these three key features. So I wanted to talk to you guys about the prime time to kind of work on client adoption is now. You don't want to be waiting until tax season, in the middle of tax season chaos, trying to get people on board and using Listio when you could have already done that now. If we spend time doing it now, it'll save you loads of time during tax season and loads of stress off your back. And so some other little things I wanted to mention for you guys is we have some nice tips. So if the client doesn't know how to log in, we now have the ability for them to log in on directly at listio.me. Lindsay, you can show us off here. So there's just that login in the top right. As well as that, there's also our chatbot right there for them to communicate with us if they have questions. So they're able to quickly send in a message, select new or current user, and can talk directly with one of us here at the support team. As well as that, we can also give you guys a login widget for your website where they can just go to your website and log in the Listio straight from there. I also want to kind of reiterate the fact of MFA, multi-factor authentication. We want to make sure you guys are secure, and during tax season, that's when the bad guys are going to be working their hardest to get in. So we highly recommend having your entire team and any clients using MFA for that extra layer of security to make sure that no breaches can occur. And final thing I wanted to mention is if you guys want to talk about any of this, you have any employees that are struggling to adopt Listio or any new employees that need training, feel free to give us a call and we're happy to help out and get you guys all squared away.
So we always like to reiterate, we do end user support. So for us, when a client comes to us for help, it's really, really fast and easy for us to get them taken care of. A lot of times they'll come with us with help of logging in, maybe resetting their password. So feel free to send them over to us. We do see that phone calls, I think, are probably the most popular way that end users get a hold of us because it's really quick and easy for them. So feel free to send them our way. Again, we do one-on-one trainings. So that means if you have a new employee, we know that new employees tend to have a lot that you kind of have to train them on. So feel free to send them to us. We'll be happy to take them through not only the platform, but we'll walk them through kind of the benefits of Listio as well. So they get an understanding for why your firm uses it. Rollout resources and social media campaign, definitely get in touch with us. We are doing a huge push right now trying to get client adoption up and running for you guys before tax season really hits full force. It's a perfect time of year to do it. We're happy to work with you on helping, schedule some emails out if you guys need some guidance with that. Same with social media. Happy to help with guidance in that regard as well. So we are also, you guys know, we're there via email. You can give us a call, and then Corbin pointed out the Listio live chat as well. So do you guys want to go ahead and answer a few questions right now? That sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop share real quick. So let's see, what kind of questions do we have?
I've been answering them as we've been going here, so we think we have 19 answered already.
Wow, you guys are doing work.
The questions have been really good. I think in general, there's been a number of questions around it. I still have an outstanding question here for Dave with regard to what if you want to send a questionnaire to a married couple? I think that's going to work fine. What we will do is we will address both spouses on the questionnaire, and I think there'll be a setting which will allow completion of the questionnaire in any order, which will allow both spouses to access it, and I think co-contribute to it. That stuff like educated stuff like that we need to test. And we had some other questions about message forwarding and that kind of thing. I think it's helpful for the audience to know about how we're looking at our development roadmap. We know, first of all, we thank you all for being here today and being customers. And I hope we take your feedback to heart. What we wanted to do is we wanted to give you all a number of features and give you visibility into those in terms of what's coming so you can make plans around it, and also give you the features early enough in cycle so we have a chance to make sure everything's going to work for you during tax season. We don't want to drop something on your doorstep mid-flow, mid-process, if you will. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to give you all the major stuff early with visibility. And then during tax season, when you're all heads down, that's when we're going to go back and we're going to cycle through a lot of the smaller things. I'm not saying they're any less important because they certainly aren't, but a lot of the requests that you all have made, that aren't going to be as disruptive as dropping an entire new signature flow on your lap, for example. We're trying to we'll be working on those smaller things during tax season. So, getting some questions about additional MFA options. I think the answer to that is yes. Questions about out of the office or forwarding, answer is yes. We absolutely have to improve features around that. Batch processes, can we make those more robust? Certainly. Those are all things that we think are going to be relatively small rounding features. So we anticipate spending 120 plus days working on a lot of those smaller things as rapid as we can for you during season. Okay. Will engagement letters be able to sign by both spouses if married? Right now, we have an engagement letter that's signed only by one, and that runs through us. I want to give you a little more color on how we're going to work with engagement letters in general and questionnaires and so forth. This will be a slightly longer answer, but many of you, for example, are using DocuSign or another engagement letter or questionnaire or anything like that. Your guys are spending some money on that. So here's how we've looked at it. DocuSign, for example, charges $40 per desk for up to 100 documents, right? It's $40 per month. So what we're doing is we're going to be baking in a third-party signature component this year, which will dramatically lower the execution risk on our side, because we're going to put an established tool that many of you used before already into play. And instead of charging you for it every single month, whether or not you use it, such as a DocuSign, per desk be $480 to $720 per year, depending whether or not you prepay or not, right? So instead of that, we're going to offer you a charge, probably $1 per document. That'll allow you to essentially leverage that tool and only pay for what you use. So in that case, let's say per desk, you're sending an average of 100 documents out, maybe fewer. That'll be far less expensive per desk than what you might already have in place. So you can talk to us about that. Happy to walk you through the math and what this will look like. But also, we're going to allow you to send and to continue to use the services we've already built, such as engagement letters, which have worked for most of you, and all that kind of thing is free. So over time, we think we'll have great features for you this year, and over time, I think we'll have continued cost reduction opportunities for your firm. But we wanted to make sure you have these options for $88.79 and so forth, which would be at or below current market costs for pretty much all of you. So I hope that's helpful.
Chris, we had a question from Debbie Highlander. Hi, Debbie. She's asking, are you guys working on the ES tax payment reminders, or is that something we should set up as a task on a per client basis?
Yeah. So we've had some clients start to use that, and here's what we think. You put it as a task. One of the things we're wrestling with right now is, let's say you have 500 clients who get that task put out there. If you add it as a task, it's great because it shows a task, but it's going to really clutter your task list. And so if you go into, go to Listio and you start looking at your tasks, you're going to have a ton of stuff there. So I think what's a better process right now is to use the bulk send messages out and send it out, let's say a month before ESTs are due, and just put it out there and not use a task. I think that's going to be a better flow. It'll still get the word out, and obviously use, the mobile notification and so forth, so they got it. But that would be my recommendation right now. There might be some dissenting opinions out there, but that's what I think. Yeah, and I got another one pop in here. No recurring messages. Yeah, there's no recurring messages right now. Next year, we're going to take a hard look at some of these other features you guys are mentioning. Mm-hmm.
I had a question from Becky Stapp. Hi, Becky. I was going to answer that live for you. She's asking if she can copy her current email signature and disclaimer for use in Listio. So we don't actually have email signatures in Listio, and that's because it's such a mobile experience for a lot of clients that email signatures would just end up looking very clunky on the mobile app. And a lot of times when they're actually messaging you in Listio, they'll see your picture, they know exactly who you are. So email signatures typically aren't done in Listio because of the mobile experience. One thing I wanted to answer, Mary. Hi, Mary. She was mentioning that she's using her email. She gets emails from a lot of non-clients, so they don't use an auto reply for email signatures. But she said that they did update their email signatures in red and bold, and that's fine too. If you're using your email for working with, third parties or non-clients, certainly an automatic reply may not be a good fit. But we still recommend the email signature in red and in bold is very good, Mary, because that makes sure it stands out. And I'm going to go ahead and answer Kaya's question. Kaya asked, will tasks be marked complete when done? So when a task is marked complete in Listio by the client, it will come back to the firm in review. So that way, as soon as it's marked complete, you guys will be able to actually review that. If all looks good to you, then you will mark the task complete and it will just stay in the archived and you'll be able to go back and find it at any point. If for whatever reason, let's say that you're asking for forms from a client and they didn't get everything done, but they still marked it complete, you can actually comment on there and let them know, hey, we still need this and this from you, and it will reopen it on their side. Let's see. So, Chris, there are a few more questions regarding questionnaires and KBA. So one of the questions is from Debbie, and she is asking if adding a questionnaire will also cost extra.
Yes. I think we're gonna, for now, yes. We're again, to de-risk everything. There'll be a nominal charge. We're gonna pay a third party to allow us to basically leverage their templates, their checkboxes, all that kind of stuff. So it'll likely be Adobe Sign. We're going to have an arrangement with them, which will be per document. We're going to pay them per document, not per month, which is why we think this is going to make financial sense, because a lot of you are already using electronic signatures and paying a third-party electronic signature provider for it on a monthly basis. Instead of doing that, you'll be able to leave that service and use us for all of your electronic signature needs, okay? For probably less money than you're paying for your monthly or annual subscriptions, because you're not going to need to maintain those subscriptions. Most firms are only using those services, seasonally. So we think it's going to be more affordable than likely what you're doing right now, but there'll be a small upcharge for that based on what we're paying our providers. Also, we had some questions about KBA costing money. Yes, we're going to use LexisNexis for out-of-wallet identity verification. We have to use a third party for that, and just like everybody else, there's a charge for that. We think will be at market price or lower than anybody's using there as well. So that's kind of those pieces are pieces that we're not trying to rebuild the wheel, right? So we'll be passing on whatever charge we incur.
We got a question from Allison. Hi, Allison. I'm happy you're here today. Chris, she is asking about the print to Listio option. She is asking if we will be able to print for multiple clients at one time or if it will still be one at a time.
So that's an interesting one. I think usually let's say you're printing a document, let's say you're printing a tax return, right? I can see what you're saying. So multi-select from, I guess if you could multi-select from an application and use print and the application understands what you're doing, it would be fine. You could do it. I think it's going to be more dependent on the source application than anything else. So for example, if you're in Microsoft Explorer and it allows you to select 5 documents and hit print, it should be fine pushing us on that basis. That's something we have to test, but I think we'll be okay. If you're printing from UltraTax, for example, it's probably going to allow you to print. It might let you print multiple documents at once. Yeah, that should be fine. We'll need to get in there and test that, but I don't see any problems with that.
Gotcha. And yeah, she was asking if she can print one return to multiple contacts, if that makes sense.
You can definitely print one return to multiple contacts. It'll work just like our messaging works today, where we call up the upload file, what have you. You can put multiple recipients on there.
Gotcha. And then we've got a question from Kaya. She's asking if we can forward messages within the firm. And I believe that is something we'll take a look at after we get those 2 main features out. We'll look at kind of fine tuning that.
I think that's fair to say. Yeah, we're going to build a lot of things that will allow you to, just take a lot of the little hair off the product. So we're actually going to be sending out a survey too. So look for that probably toward the end of this month. You'll see it come from us, but it'll ask you what's going well and what isn't, and then you'll be able to put in any kind of feature requests you have. This is going to go out to thousands of people, so we're going to aggregate all of that, and that'll provide us with some general guidance in terms of what to start working on the second that we talked about today is out in the wild, and you all are happy with those features. Okay. Mary Purse had a rebuttal. Thank you, Mary. Why do you need to forward? One of the beauties of Listio is we can see everything for a client without needing to forward. Yeah, that was the initial intent. So that's yeah. Thank you.
Get me in trouble.
Oh yeah, sorry. We're supposed to anonymize these. Sorry, Mary.
All right. Any more questions from? Let's see. Do we have some more coming in?
Oh, Kevin has a good one. So when we provide things to a client, it's usually done via message or a task, right? So if we're now printing directly to Listio, how's that going to work? That's insightful. Our print tool is going to expand to allow you to print a file directly to a task and allow you to create the task on the fly from the print function, or create the message on the fly from the print function. Or if you want, simply print it to Listio without creating a message or a task. We'll print silently, if you will, to your and the customer's files section. So we intend to give you all 3 options with the intent of taking out keystrokes. Comments, great, funny personal messages coming in. So let's go ahead and call it. Let's call it a webinar for now. We're going to have another major feature announcement that wasn't contemplated here today. So we'll ask you to tune back in, but in another week or 2. So stay tuned for that. Again, we're just trying to give you more transparency and more education. But this will be a feature that'll be live in product this month. That is very significant. So I got to kind of keep it under wraps until Dev gives us the all clear. But look for that. It won't be a repeat of today. Okay.
Yeah. And also just as a reminder, guys, perfect time of year to start working on client adoption. Again, whether it's a lot of expired invites that you have, or whether it's, a bunch of new contacts that haven't been introduced to Listio yet, please get a hold of us. We really, really want to help you guys. We have several email templates. We've got social media, our email signatures, and we will help you get that all set up. So please reach out, and we will be happy to hop on a call with you. All right. Well, we will let everyone kind of get back to their Tuesday. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Let us know if you guys need anything. All right.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.